a horrendously sappy and heavy-handed direct-to-video children's movie dud. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that Bigfoot fella supposed to be a little, I don't know, taller? Better than Field of Dreams. I wonder what kind of garbage was passed over for a company to decide to make this movie. The best part is when the boy farts in the car and the whole family starts gagging. On the Little Bigfoot front, Little Bigfoot delivers, in that there's a darned Little Bigfoot running around. How he eyes that big when he mum's eyes that small. Eyes don't shrink with age. Not much else to say, but Little Bigfoot is pretty good. Little Bigfoot was released probably around 1997, though sources differ, and that's basically all I know about it. It's got one of the shortest Wikipedia pages I've ever seen, and the page for the sequel doesn't even exist. Because yes, this does have a sequel. But while the details online might be scarce, I have a lot to say about the actual contents, so let's just get into it. The basic synopsis is a boy and his siblings find a baby Sasquatch and work to save him from hunters. It has an underlying theme of environmentalism that is so subtle, I wonder if you'll even pick up on it as I get into the plot breakdown. The credits are shown over shots of forest and birds and bears and what appear to be apes, but I can't be too sure about that. Then from these beautiful nature shots, it transitions to a logging operation led by a man in an eye patch, and this might be ableist, but I think he might be a bad guy. At the loggers camp, they are having conversation about how they've been cutting down protected trees, and this guy Turnbull is particularly against it. He's still doing it, though. Like, a paycheck is a paycheck. And I definitely understand that in today's economy. But in 1997 economy, man, go get a different job. Just go get a different job.
It's just that we're not supposed to be cutting baby redwoods. These trees are protected.
Why don't you take your problem up with Mr. Largo?
The manager, Mackenzie, tells them to take it up with the owner of the company, Mr. Largo, who then shows up in snakeskin boots and menacingly pulls out some meditation balls. He rotates them in his hand as he gives his speech, and we hear them clinking throughout, so that's really cool. It's really good. It's really good sound engineering, in which he just says he's going to give everyone a $1,000 bonus to placate and silence them.
You know how much I appreciate all your hard work.
Now we meet our main protagonist, Peyton, getting home to his house in the suburbs. He throws his bike on the driveway, and his little sister Maggie tries to get him to play mud pies with her, which is where you take your mom's good china out to the yard and have a pretend picnic with rocks and sticks and mud.
Does Mom know you're using her good dishes? No. Come on, let's play mud pie. Go play with your friends.
To be honest, this is probably better than them just sitting collecting dust because they're too nice to use, in my opinion. But he doesn't want to play with her because he's honestly kind of a shithead for the entire movie anyway, so. Inside, the mom, Carolyn, is in a beautiful 90s kitchen talking on the phone with a travel agent.
Until August 27th? Oh, that's great. Sounds like a wonderful place for family vacation.
Peyton heads into the living room and fights with his brother Peter before their mom comes in to break them up. And then she tells them about the vacation she's planned. She tells them they're going to go stay in a cabin in the mountains for a real family vacation.
I'm going to start packing.
Back with the loggers, they are all sleeping peacefully in their cabin, except for the guy with the eye patch whose name is Red. He hears something, so he grabs his gun. Outside, he sees a small creature galumping away, and he gleefully shoots at it, missing, and obviously waking up the rest of the loggers. We don't learn a lot about Red's character, but we do know one thing. He is very excited to shoot at just about anything that moves. He struggles with his gun for a moment. I don't know, it's like jammed or something, when suddenly... It's actually really hard to tell what happened, but I think a gorilla just bashed his skull in. But no, it's actually a big Bigfoot who runs away after the little Bigfoot as the rest of the loggers stream out of the cabin to make chase and begin shooting wildly. Big Bigfoot takes a bullet to the knee and pushes the little Bigfoot ahead of it as it hobbles after. The loggers jump into their trucks for some reason, as if the Bigfoot's big feet, as if the Sasquatches are confined to the road and can't just fuck off into the forest. And thus commences car chase number 1, because yes, there are multiple car chases in this movie about environmentalism and Bigfoot. You didn't expect that? You fool. This is Hollywood. This is cinema. No car chases. No thank you. They surround the Bigfoot. I'm going with the plural being Bigfoot, like moose or deer, because they're also indigenous to North America, and I think that tracks linguistically. But anyway, the loggers surround the Bigfoot. They jump off the road at the last second, causing the trucks to collide. They finally escape, even though, again, they they could have just like left the road at any point. But like I said, this is cinema. The Bigfoot gets safely back to their cave, but Big Bigfoot is of course still injured. You don't heal from a gunshot wound that quickly. Trust me, I would know. I live in America. Cut to Peyton's family in their van on the way to their real family vacation. Maggie asks if they'll find Bilbo up in the mountains as she's reading a picture book of the Hobbit that makes them look like Sasquatches.
I don't think so, Maggie. You know, Bilbo is only make-believe.
I've read The Hobbit, and as far as I remember, they're not really described as being, like, ape-like to this extent. Their feet are hairy, but, like, so are mine. It's natural. And speaking of natural, Peyton rips one so hard they all get nauseous.
Oh, Peyton, that's horrible!
Such a pig.
Also, Peyton isn't really annoying, and his Game Boy is very loud, but Peter takes it too far by throwing it out the window. It has a volume control. Just make him turn it down. What the hell? Do you know how expensive those were? Back in the loggers' camp, the chef is preparing a meal when Little Bigfoot sneaks in to steal some food. I don't know why he's individually weighing each potato, but this is a fun gag. Eventually, the chef sees this pitiful creature, and this shot of him screaming makes it seem like Little Bigfoot murdered him. And we never see the chef again, so he might have. We don't know that the Bigfoot are herbivores. They could be omnivores. They could be carnivores. We don't know that they're not predators. In Mr. Largo's cabin, he is prodding the fire and listening to a newscast about
deforestation. The culprit, logging companies.
His son, Vincent, comes in and assures him that the environmentalists can't touch them.
It's
My
bleeding
four-part
heart to
series
killing
beginning
me.
tonight will study the
They can't touch us.
environmental
But, like, they're cutting down new growth redwood trees. I'm pretty sure that they definitely could get in trouble for that. Then Mackenzie and Turnbull come in with the company lawyer to tell the boss about some mysterious tracks they've seen around the camp.
We're not really sure what they are. But one thing we do know, they were big.
And Mr. Largo says, like, you're implying that this is some unknown creature. It's not Bigfoot.
Looks like we got a grizzly and her cub.
That's a problem.
Turnbull says, those are protected by federal law. We need to shut down operations. And I really like this shot of Mr. Largo as he proclaims that he owns that land and he can do whatever he wants, as his taxidermy just like looms above him.
And if I'm going to turn a profit, it has got to be logged, not left to languish as some nature preserve.
It's not even the most heavy-handed part of the film. So Largo tells them to kill the mother and the cub. Jesus. I knew he was the villain, but that is straight evil, dude. Turnbull refuses, and Largo fires him and threatens him not to tell anyone about their activities. Next, an environmentalist, who will be important later, don't forget her, gets caught trespassing by some loggers, and they say that they're going to take her to Largo, but she just kind of like kicks both their asses and runs away. Very slay, very girl boss. So Mackenzie and Red drive after her in car chase number 2, and Red is trying to shoot her, or maybe shoot out her tires. I don't know. He's a very unstable man. But she escapes into the national forest. And they might condone illegal logging, poaching, and possibly even murder, but they draw the line at trespassing.
What are you doing? She's getting away! I can't go in there. It's federal property.
Then Red sees Little Bigfoot just kind of trotting along, unrelated to this, and shoots at him, but misses.
Here's my bear!
Is the joke that he's a bad shot because he only has one eye? Did it take me this long to get that? Back with Peyton and his family, they are still in the car roughhousing and talking about aliens when Little Bigfoot scuttles across the road and they nearly hit him. Mom swerves and screeches to a halt to avoid hitting him, and Peyton is sure that thing was not a bear.
What was it?
I don't know. It might have been a little bear cub or something.
That was not a bear.
She has trouble getting the car started again, but they manage to roll into town, clunking and clanking, and immediately get pulled over by the sheriff. The sheriff, Nick, gives them the address of the local mechanic, and there are some sparks flying here.
Just tell him Nick Clifton sent you. He'll give you a good deal.
Oh, well, thank you.
Mama's gonna get laid on vacay. The family finally gets to their cabin, and they brought a gigantic Godzilla inflatable. I mean, I suppose it's for when they go swimming in the lake, but why did they pack it already inflated? Weird. Peter goes out to ogle the girls who are like boating and suntanning and stuff when a group on a boat see him and they immediately call him a dweeb.
That guy? That guy's a dweeb.
Clocked. I fear he's been clocked. Not only was this pointless though, because we literally never see these people again, but also the sound of the water is deafening.
Hey, what's up?
What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing waving at him?
Nothing. I'm just saying hi.
Peyton rides his bike into town, being kind of a dick and like riding right in the middle of the sidewalk and plowing through everyone until he smacks into a cop and falls off his bike. The environmentalist is driving by when she sees this and stops her car in the middle of the road to help for some reason.
Well, it doesn't look so bad. Come on, let's go clean it up.
She whisks away this child that she does not know to her veterinary practice, because of course she's a veterinarian.
Are you a doctor? Well, environmentalist first, veterinarian second.
And she checks on his wounds and like does iodine or whatever. I don't know. It's a scraped knee. I don't think it was that big of a deal. Or elbow. Maybe it was an elbow. Whatever. He scraped a joint. The environmentalist introduces herself as Lanya. So we're going to call her Lanya from now on out because that is her name. The sheriff picks Peyton up to take him back to the lake house, and Vincent enters as they leave. He hits on Lanya and asks her out, seemingly for the 1,000th time. They seem to have some sort of implied history of him harassing her, to be honest. But she denies him, shoots him down, and says no.
How about dinner tonight?
The answer's the same as it's always been. No.
The sheriff drops Peyton off and flirts more with Mom, and they plan to have dinner the next day.
It's a deal. All right, I'll see you soon.
Peyton sees Little Bigfoot through the window and rushes out to follow him with Maggie in tow after she blackmails him into letting her join.
I'll tell. Fine.
In the woods, we finally see Little Bigfoot in all his glory and how expressive his face is. One might think too expressive. Maggie starts chanting, "It's Bilbo, it's Bilbo!" So they call him Bilbo for the rest of the movie. I'm gonna keep calling him Little Bigfoot, maybe LB for short. And then they play magical music for a solid 30 seconds while the kids and Little Bigfoot are just kind of like shuffling around looking at each other. And then Maggie suggests that they give him some food and produces an apple from her pocket, which Little Bigfoot is very excited about. He takes the apple and runs off just in time for some loggers to appear and take Peyton and Maggie away. Little Bigfoot gets back to the cave, presumably to give his mother the apple from Maggie, but then he actually proffers a pine cone, which she just throws on the ground because I guess they don't eat pine cones. But what happened to the apple? At Largo's, Peyton is smart enough to lie and say that they were just out looking for aliens.
We didn't see anything.
Are you sure?
Sure.
And I believe this milk mustache was placed here by big dairy propagandists. Wipe your face. The sheriff shows up at Largo's to take the kids back to their cabin again. The next morning, Mom takes it pretty easy on Peyton and Maggie and just asks that they obey the law when the sheriff comes over for dinner later. The kids all razz her about Nick, and they convince her to let Peyton and Maggie go to town with Peter, and then she can be alone and have like a date.
Plus, you gotta get ready for your hot date with Nick. Nick!
In town, Peyton introduces his siblings to Lanya, and Peter literally looks her up and down, and they kind of have a flirty vibe between them. I don't know how old Peter is supposed to be, but I thought he was a teenager. Like, him having a crush on Lanya is totally understandable, totally normal, but her returning the feeling in any way, even just a vibe, is crazy. She is an adult with a doctorate. She's a whole-ass veterinarian. Peter is maybe 18. If we want to give her the biggest boon that we can, maybe he's a college student living at home. It's still weird to me. It's still a weird vibe. I don't like it. Maggie sees a poster of Bigfoot, which they have hanging out of Vet's office for some reason, and she calls him Bilbo and insists that they saw him the other day.
He's a myth, kind of like hobbits and the Loch Ness Monster. No, he's real. I saw him.
And then Peyton kind of embarrassedly ushers his siblings outside.
Yeah, Maggie, we gotta go. Bye, Lenny. Let's go, Peter.
As they leave, Largo and some of his lackeys come in and surround Lanya. The long and the short of the conversation is that he is threatening to press charges if they catch her trespassing again.
If I ever catch you on my property again, I will have no choice but to prosecute to the full extent of the law.
And maybe this is controversial, but like, he has every right to do so. Like, she has been trespassing. Point blank, fact of the matter, she's been trespassing. She's not wrong about him being evil and committing crimes of his own, but she has very much been breaking the law. Then the kids come back into the vet's office for some reason when Largo and them leave. Why did the kids go, like, hang out in the parking lot for a couple minutes and then just to come back inside? Sorry, just as a layman, just as a person who watches movies, I think it would have been more effective if Largo and his lackeys come in and Lanya, gets a little bit scared and sends the kids to the back to, like, pet bunnies or feed the kennel dogs or something. And then had them come back in once the guys leave. But they didn't ask me to do the blocking. They didn't ask me. I was only, like, a couple years old. Peyton asks about Largo's hunting habits, and Lanya says that hunting once is once too many.
Do they hunt like that all the time?
Once is once too much.
And I am not in favor of hunting purely for sport or trophy. But unfortunately, humans have wrecked the food chain so badly that we do need to cull deer populations in particular so that they don't eat themselves into extinction and further destroy the ecosystem. Unfortunately for us, they also taste good. So Peyton asks if they would ever hunt Bigfoot, and Lanya says that Bigfoot's lucky he doesn't exist because anytime there's a sighting, hunters flood in to look for him.
That thing's just lucky it's a myth. The real one wouldn't stand a chance at all. I saw one.
Peyton then says that they saw one on Largo's property, even though Maggie was saying the same shit a couple minutes ago, but we believe Peyton. She tells them to show her where they saw it so that she can somehow protect it. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what she's gonna do to actually accomplish this, but okay. She must be one of those people who thinks that a grizzly bear would let her pet it just because she has immaculate vibes. Peter protests that they've already gotten in trouble for being in this area and that their mom would flip out if they got caught again. Lanya asks if his mommy runs his life and is like negging this child about being dependent on his mother, but okay, weird.
Mom? Your mom runs your life?
No.
You coming?
No.
And I still have no idea how old he's supposed to be, but he didn't really seem like he wanted to go on this vacation, and he's here anyway, so yeah, kinda. And also, it's very weird that you're negging a child.
Your brother would rather suntan than save an animal from extinction. He's a real upstanding guy.
She teases Peter into joining them. I don't really know why they need him. She's an adult. She has a car. Peter wasn't there to see Little Bigfoot the first time anyway. Lanya says they're going to save an animal from extinction. How are you doing that? Like, literally, what are you going to do? Tell me the actual actionable steps that you're taking to accomplish this. You don't even know what it is at this point. Go report a baby bear to the conservation officers. Why do you need to take these children to go trespassing again? Very long car pulling out scene. Now we see Vincent aiming at a deer from like 8 feet away. He hesitates, though, and decides not to shoot it. Because Lanya has convinced him that it's wrong, or because the antlers are uneven and it probably wouldn't make a very good trophy anyway. Who knows? In the Bigfoot's cave, Big Bigfoot is writhing around, presumably in pain. Not much new has happened there. Little Bigfoot ventures out once again when Lanya and the kids come careening, like seriously off-roading around this bend. Why is she driving like this with children in the car? What the fuck, Lanya? You freak! Little Bigfoot gets scared and hops away. Lanya explains how she comes out to Largo's property to spike the trees, which is where you put like a certain type of metal into a living tree and it makes the lumber unusable, basically. I don't really know. I'm not a scientist. And she says that Largo somehow hides his illegal logging activity and that they need to get photo evidence either of that or of the animal to go report to Park Services to make them put federal protection on the land.
Why not let the police handle it?
Because they need evidence. Largo's too smart to slip up.
And again, I say, go report the bear sighting and let law enforcement investigate instead of dragging children into the woods with a bunch of trigger-happy, morally bankrupt illegal loggers.
Any evidence of animals would allow the park authorities to shut down Largo's operation.
They brought Peyton's bike with them for some reason, which it makes no sense right now, but I assume it will be important later, whatever. In the meantime, Little Bigfoot is like sniffing around a dry creek bed, and he comes across something that makes him very excited. Blink and you'll miss it. He found a dead bear cub with a knife sticking out of it. I say excited because despite the aforementioned expressiveness of Little Bigfoot's face, it's really hard to discern happy little grunts and jumps from distressed little grunts and jumps, but just know that this is excited for a fresh apple, and this is distraught over finding a murdered bear cub. The loggers are at work in this area though, and Little Bigfoot gets spooked and scurries away. Lania and the kids are back where they first saw Little Bigfoot, and they decide to split up to look for pictures. I mean, not look for pictures. They're gonna take the pictures aren't already there. They have to take the pictures. They have to find the thing to take pictures of. They split into Lania and Peter and Maggie and Peyton. What the hell? You need to put one of the small children with one of the larger adult-shaped children, okay? This is a stupid split. But then Lania and Peter come across some loggers, assumedly doing some illegal logging, so they decide to photograph them.
Hey, what the hell? Hey, somebody's taking pictures of here.
And then the loggers see her very obviously taking photos of them from like 10 feet away, and they make chase. That's right, it's time for another car chase through the woods. The loggers jump in their trucks, and Maggie and Peyton see the trucks race by, and Peyton decides to leave Maggie for dead because she's slowing him down.
I'm scared, Peyton. Max will be here. He'll take care of you. But Peyton...
No, but he tells her to stay put while he goes to create a diversion. He says that this is to save Lania and Peter, but how does he even know that they're in trouble? All they saw was a logging truck speeding by. It could be that one of the loggers can't poop in the woods and is hurrying back to camp. Maybe he's shy. In the meantime, Lania and Peter make it back to her car and drive off without Peyton and Maggie. They are leaving the children behind. They are closely pursued by a couple logging trucks, and Peyton pops out on his bike and distracts Red. And I would not be surprised if this man just runs Peyton over.
What do we got here? Mountain bike, boy.
But somehow the truck is not gaining on the bicycle in the slightest. And then Peyton somehow outmaneuvers Red on his bike. The other trucks are still chasing Lania and Peter though, so how much did Peyton's distraction really help? Probably not that much. Also, Peter is either the chillest guy on the planet or he is in shock.
Hang on.
Okay. Somebody get him a tinfoil blanket. Sir, you were in an accident. You've been in a coma for several weeks, and it may take months or even years of physical therapy to recover. Okay. Then Peter says he has an idea involving Lania's tree spikes, and he just throws them out the window. And this works. I would have liked to see like a broken windshield or like stabbed into the side of a tire or something, but the trucks just stop. Like, oh no, you've defeated us with your metal sticks. They're not even pointed upwards. They could have just rolled over them. I don't know why that worked. Lania and Peter are triumphant as they drive away, but I'm just wondering when they'll remember the children they left behind in the forest. But their victory is short-lived as they come across more trucks blocking the road. The Largo company lawyer approaches with a logger who has a rifle trained on them, and he demands her camera.
You want to give me your camera, Miss Sheffer?
And she socks him in the face with it, which is badass, if a little stupid. They take Lania and Peter to Largo's, and he's playing with his balls again. Largo tells him that they found her fingerprints on some sabotage equipment, which Lania said earlier that she very much has done. But now she claims that they're setting her up. It is probably her best legal defense at this point. Like, she doesn't really have a leg to stand on, probably, really.
You, Miss Sheffer, are going to accompany me to the sheriff's station.
Peyton is still in the woods somewhere because they left him behind, and Little Bigfoot appears again. LB leads Peyton to some stumps of redwood trees, which he hugs sadly, tears in his big dead eyes. All this talk about how well the loggers are covering their tracks, and they're just leaving stumps of trees that they're illegally chopping down. This seems like all the evidence the conservation officers would need. How about let's take a picture of this and then lead law enforcement to this location. Maggie is scaredly hugging their dog, who I haven't mentioned because he plays no part in this. It'd be cool if he like sniffed out the Bigfoot or something, but he just is a dog that they have. And something's got them in its sights. It's just Peyton and Little Bigfoot, so it's fine. So then Little Bigfoot leads them to the dead bear cub from earlier, and they take a picture for evidence. And then they just start screaming at Little Bigfoot about how they need to go home. As if he will better understand English the louder they speak it.
Bilbo, home! You know home? Sleep, Bilbo, sleep! Home!
They drag Little Bigfoot all the way back to their cabin, and then they're like, okay, bye. Like, why did he need to go with them if they're not gonna like feed or shelter him or something? Why?
Go ahead, Bilbo. Go ahead. Go home. Go on, Bilbo. Bye, Bilbo.
Carolyn and Nick, the mom and the sheriff, are having their dinner when Largo shows up at the door. He tells the sheriff about the damaged equipment and asks them to come meet the guilty parties.
I've got the people who are responsible outside. If I could ask the two of you to follow me, please.
Lanya and Peter are stood against the hood of Largo's vehicle, and Largo says he won't press charges against Peter since it is his first offense.
Peter? What is he doing here?
I think he was probably just an unwitting bystander in the whole thing.
So his mom takes Peter inside despite his protest.
In the house.
But Ma...
Now, go!
The sheriff is all pissy that Largo is pressing charges against Lanya as if she hasn't committed multiple crimes, but he warns Largo that the eyes of the law might fall on his operation someday.
For some reason, you seem to have already tried and convicted me.
And I know Largo is saying this evilly, but he is not wrong. Even murderers should get their due process. And also, Largo's got money. He'll probably get off anyway. In the kids' bedroom, Peyton asks, "Are you awake?" as Peter is sitting up in bed with every single light in the room on.
Pete? You awake?
Yeah.
Peyton insists they've got to go save Little Bigfoot, but Peter dejectedly says that they tried. But then they remember that Maggie did get some useful pictures, and they want to take the camera down to the police station.
Yeah, she's got pictures of the trees and the bear.
Sleep.
But Mom comes in and yells at them to go to bed and not even think about leaving the house again. Mr. Largo orders that everyone on his payroll be armed and sent out to shoot the bear.
Hand a rifle to every man on my payroll. I want this animal dead before another Lanya Sheffer manages to verify it.
And mark my words, one of these guys is gonna get shot. You cannot send this many people out into the woods with guns and a cash incentive without it resulting in injury. The Bigfoot are safe in their cave for now, but some of the loggers have come eerily close to the entrance. The kids wait for their mom to fall asleep, and then Peter is going to take Maggie's camera to the sheriff's office. This needs to happen to take Largo's operation down, but again, Lanya did commit multiple crimes. I don't think this is gonna get her out of trouble completely. Maybe if she like testifies against Largo, but even then, like, he's probably just gonna get fined. Peyton says that he and Maggie will go out and look for Little Bigfoot, but Peter tells them to wait until he returns, and Peyton agrees to this, but I simply do not believe him. I don't believe him.
Don't go out there.
Okay.
Peter sneaks by his mom on the couch, and for some reason he stops to give her a kiss goodbye. It's cute, but this is a needless risk. Peyton looks out the window and sees logging trucks speeding by, but isn't it supposed to be late at night? Why is it daytime outside this window? He tells Maggie that he's got to go find Little Bigfoot before they do. He tells her that she can't come, but she threatens to scream, so he allows her.
Peyton, I'm coming. Okay.
I do like the sibling dynamic in this movie. I think it's very realistic with the brothers always fighting and the little sister like conniving her way into everything. I like that. They're in the woods now, and this is definitely daytime. Why was their mother insisting they all sleep? Or was there like a time skip that we missed where they woke up super early and she was sleeping in? The timeline's a little fuzzy. I guess it doesn't really, it's daytime now, I guess. The next morning, they find Little Bigfoot and he leads them back to his cave and his injured mother who roars at them.
I told you he had a mom.
But Maggie slowly approaches and gives her an apple that still has like leaves attached. Is she just finding apple trees in the woods and picking them? How does she reach them? Peyton keeps trying to explain in English to the Bigfoot that they need to run away, but they don't understand him for some reason.
You have to get out of here. You have to run away. You have to run far away.
I don't know why. He's speaking plain English to these creatures, to these mythological creatures. And then Maggie sees the bullet wound on Big Bigfoot and touches it for some reason.
Peyton, look, she's hurt.
And this hurts her and pisses her off, obviously. Why would Maggie just touch this creature's wound? What?
She can't run like this. They'll get her. She doesn't stand a chance.
Peyton says that they'll create a diversion, but then they just lead the Bigfoot out of the cave all together in a group. So I don't know what he was talking about there. Typically, you don't create a diversion while you're with the thing you're trying to divert attention from. Just a little tip, hot tip. Big Bigfoot falls down because her leg is still injured, and Peyton just tells her to stay there. They should have just stayed in the cave, because the second that the kids and Little Bigfoot are out of the frame, some loggers come around the corner. Luckily, they can't really see the Big Bigfoot from their angle because of a fallen tree. However, they seem to suspect that something is there as they stalk towards her. Peyton makes noise to distract them just in time, even though they seemed pretty intent on the log. After this close call, the kids and Bigfoot begin to approach the logging camp, where a bunch of guys are there doing logging stuff, even though I thought that Largo sent them all out hunting, but whatever. Okay, so the gang sneaks up to a truck and they see that the keys are in the ignition, so they climb in and steal it, and you know what that means, another fucking car chase, the last one in the film. And it would have been hilarious if Big Bigfoot was the one driving, but no, it's Peyton that's driving. It is fun though, because he manages to outdrive the other loggers and force one of the trucks to drive into the lake. Red stops his truck, because he's in the chase too, and tries to get out to help his friends, who did all jump out in time. By the way, they didn't like sync with the truck. That would have been dark. Red tries to get out and go help his friends, but Mackenzie forces him to keep driving, and Red looks distraught here. He may be bloodthirsty, but he believes in the power of friendship. With the lead that this gave them, Peyton drives out somewhere remote, and then he screams and throws like pine cones and things at Little Bigfoot, trying to get him to leave before the loggers can catch up.
Get out of here! They're coming! They're gonna kill you! Get out of here! Come on!
Why he didn't just drive straight to the police station, I don't know. I know he's like 12, but like, he made it this far. He keeps shouting, "I hate you!" and like pelting Little Bigfoot with rocks. And then he quietly says, "I'll miss you."
I hate you, Bilbo! I hate you! I'll miss you.
This relationship is not earned in my mind. There was really nothing fun that happened with Little Bigfoot. Like, nothing that they did. He met this creature one time, and then he met an environmentalist who cares about nature and stuff, and then he's like, yeah, no, we totally have to save this little abomination. Okay, anyway. Little Bigfoot crests the hill, and Maggie calls out goodbye as the other logging trucks roll up and they capture the kids. Largo demands to know where it is as they hear Little Bigfoot crying out, and we see that he's been caught in a bear trap. Largo sends Red to see what's in the trap and shoot it. Doesn't care what it is, shoot it. Vincent tells his dad to think about what he's doing, because his whole philosophy on life has changed now that the girl he liked turned him down again.
Stay out of this, Vincent.
No, I'm not gonna stay out of this. I'm not gonna just sit here and watch you do this.
She did nothing to change his mind. All she was like, I don't fuck with you, I don't want to be with you, blah, 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 leave me alone. And he's like, wow, that really made me think about life. We see Red line up the shot, and we hear it ring out as the children scream and cry, obviously, because their friend is dead now.
It's okay.
But over the hill, the sheriff leads Red out in handcuffs. How? Not explained. Right place, right time, I guess. Serendipity. Mom rolls up with Peter and Lanya, and out walks Turnbull.
Morning, Mr. Largo.
Mr. Turnbull.
As well as some more police officers who immediately arrest Largo.
Take him away.
Charlie, do something!
Don't worry, Mr. Largo. I'll have you out in 24 hours.
Which is cool, but how did they know to be in this random location that Peyton drove to? I don't know. Peyton pulls the sheriff aside to ask about Little Bigfoot, and the sheriff says he's sure it'll be alright. Look up there. And up on some rocks are Little Bigfoot and Big Bigfoot. Again, how? I do not know. Maybe the sheriff released him, I guess, in the like 0.2 seconds that we didn't see him. But also, like, wouldn't his foot still hurt too much to climb? And Big Bigfoot was shot in the knee like 4 days ago. Good time to go rock climbing, I guess. The sheriff asks the kids to keep this their secret to protect the Bigfoot, and they agree.
Deal?
Deal. Deal.
The music swells as we zoom in on the Bigfoot making their way back into the forest. The end. I'm gonna go watch the sequel right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. In Mr. Largo's cabin, Lanya and the kids are back where blah 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 blah. Can you hear this? Maggie sees, oh my fucking god, dude. Why am I so funny and beautiful? I don't even know. I was just lucky to be born like this, I guess.